Our webinar today is on contract and vendor management. My name is Ben Senjum, and I'm a collaboration specialist with Doc365. So just a little bit of an overview of today's webinar. I'll start off by sharing a little bit about who we are and discuss why businesses need contract management, including the benefits of having a solution like ours. Then we'll roll into the live CMS demo environment. And then lastly, we'll have a live Q&A session where you can ask your questions in the chat, or you can just ask using your microphone. Just don't forget to unmute yourself before you speak. So we are a Microsoft Gold Certified Partner in business for 17 years, and we're based in Jacksonville, Florida. And we've been helping businesses across the world work smarter through our intelligent solution platform. And through our 12 software solutions, we're closing the gap in communication and driving productivity. And we attribute our success to the fact that we listen to our customers and continue to innovate our solutions. Our goal is to have a solution for every department within your organization. So to give you an idea of some of the solutions which we do have available at Doc, all these here are part of our platform. We do have a pre-built intranet portal, which can be deployed within 4 to 6 weeks. It also comes complete with a mobile app. We have an easy-to-use project management solution, which can be used to manage marketing projects or any other project, to collaborate with team members and task management. And then we also have an HR system, which can help from basically the hiring all the way to the firing of employees and everything else in between that. So you can post jobs, schedule interviews, manage candidates for your recruitment solution, and keep track of employee data, onboarding, offboarding, etc. We also have the learning management solution to help your internal training needs, and our employee performance management solution to help your organization to manage employee performance evaluation, and also automate the evaluation process. We also have a help desk system for ticketing, asset management system, as well as an expense reporting application. We also have a CRM that allows you to manage your prospects and track deals all the way through the deal stages for your sales team. We also have a marketing automation system. It's slated to be released within the next few months, so keep your eye out for that. Just a little bit about our differentiator as well, to kind of keep in mind. We do offer superior customer support and training, which helps your team to ramp up faster. Our team is located right here in Jacksonville, Florida. We have PMP certified project managers, which will work with you on your initiative as we build it onto your tenant. All of our solutions are designed to be simple and engaging. It's going to allow for better employee adoption and better engagement. We have a quick and painless implementation process. So our intranet's customized, fully deployed, typically only 4 to 6 weeks from start to finish. The other solutions, such as the contract management, HRMS, only just a couple weeks to build it, customize it, and deploy it, train the trainer, etc. We're also aware that not all organizations have the same needs, so we're able to customize any of our solutions available to fit your needs. And this is because these solutions are all built onto your Office 365 and SharePoint tenant. A lot of other solutions aren't capable of doing this because you are, basically logging into a third-party server to utilize their solution, and so you're sharing that solution with several other companies. Here at Doc, we also offer free feature updates after deployment. So we want to make sure that all of our customers are having the most up-to-date solution experience. So we try to update all of our solutions quarterly. So we include that, as well as any Microsoft patches that come along. We'll go into your solution update to make sure it's working properly. Okay. So just a little bit about contract management. Why do companies need contract management? Well, without the adoption of a formal contract management system, you're likely using spreadsheets to track the data and possibly storing your contracts in a disheveled drive with minimal organization, or even paper contracts in filing cabinets. When businesses use these outdated methods, they'll find that have a hard time keeping track of expiring contract deadlines. And this means you may not have enough time to negotiate new contracts and end up buying at a higher price, and also staying within compliance is obviously an issue. Companies have a hard time locating contracts, or even who to contact from the vendor or even which of their own employees own the contracts, who's responsible for these contracts. Manual approval processes can also drag out, costing time and money. Valuable documents such as certificate of insurances can expire, also, which can pose a liability to your company. So it can be difficult to track quotes as well from vendors. A contract management solution can help in regards to better efficiencies and risk management. So like tracking expiring certificate of insurance, like we just talked about, to reduce exposure, and automatic workflows to increase productivity. Improve financial optimization. So easily monitoring where the money is being spent, which departments are spending the most money, and being able to track where basically all your money is going within your organization. Increased contract visibility, so you can easily find your contracts, who to contact, within the system, who owns what contract, and also assured, contract compliance. So here's a study done by Aberdeen Group in 2013 regarding statistics surrounding contracts. 60 to 80% of all business transactions, of course, are governed by contracts. 18% of selling cycle consumed by contract processes. So for sales teams, this is a huge amount of time that is spent not being productive and not working on gaining new business or closing other deals. $215,000 on average is the amount of money that's lost each day for large businesses due to contract processes. So I mean, they're utilizing all this time to find contracts, forgetting when contracts expiring. So the whole process is costing quite a bit of money. 33 to 41% of costs that could be reduced by eliminating contract inaccuracy and non-compliance. So contracts expiring without notification, and all these inefficiencies are costing companies quite a bit of money. So what are the benefits of an Office 365 based contract management solution? So we here at Doc 365 are obviously it's built on Office 365, so we're utilizing a lot of the out of the box capabilities of Office 365 plus a lot of custom features, which we'll touch on in just a second. But for one, security, all that data is within the contract management solution is stored on your Office 365 tenant. So you control your data, which means less risk for data theft and hacking. You can also reduce IT costs and not having to maintain a server. We do have, of course, single sign-on for all your apps and Office 365 environments like our contract management. And then control, you're able to share documents and information and control which employees or departments are able to edit and view it, which documents you're able to share. You can edit, which users have the ability to view portions of the solution. We also have, of course, contract version history, which allows you to be able to see different versions of documents as amendments are made to contracts. So you can, multiple people can go into the contract and edit it, amend it as needed. So just some of the capabilities with Doc's contract management, which we can see here. With Doc CMS, it can be customized to fit, vendor contracts, customer contracts, or even both. And we have multiple versions of the solution, so we can also customize the solution to fit your exact needs. So today we'll actually probably touch on the customer and vendor contract management solution. If you only typically do with vendor contracts, we do have a separate solution just contract management just for vendors. So there's different versions of the solution. And of course, we can customize it to your needs. So if there's other features or anything like that you might not utilize, we'd be happy to take that out for you as well. So just at the top of the list here, we do have, of course, the document management. So you'll be able to store contracts, business documents, even quotes right in the contract area of the solution. There's also document management available in the vendor or customer area of the solution as well. So with the DMS built into the vendor side, for example, you can track when the certificate of insurance is expiring or other time-sensitive documents related to vendors. With vendor information, it'll be stored within the CMS as well, which will allow you to keep track of addresses, phone numbers, all the contacts within that company. You can change the status of the vendor when they become inactive, and you can view all contracts associated with that particular vendor. Doc offers a built-in workflow engine for approvals as well, which we'll see in the demo environment. You can easily create templates for approvals within the settings to make sure that the contracts being created are being reviewed on time and the appropriate action is being taken for those contracts. The engine is going to allow you to create approval templates for almost any scenario for contracts over a certain amount to contracts generated by a certain location, for example. And you can add as many stages to the approval process as needed and designate how many days the person or department has to review the contract. So one very important part of Docs CMS is being able to have expiring notifications. So contract owners within your company will be able to receive notifications when contracts are getting ready to expire within the time frame that you set. So you can customize the time at which they receive notifications on a default basis and at a per contract basis as well. So you'll be able to track quotes as well from vendors within the system, so you can shop around for the best prices and store the quotes or price sheets inside our DMS or document management. We also have e-signature capability, so that you can send out contracts to the signed parties right from the solution. So once the parties sign the contract, it'll be automatically stored, in the contract area of the solution where it belongs. So DocCMS also has an external site where vendors or customers will be able to log in, share documents. They'll be able to fill out, any vendor information and communicate with the CMS without ever gaining access to the system, obviously for security reasons. Okay, and now that we have a good idea of why contract management is important, we'll go ahead and jump into the demo environment so we can see some of its capabilities. So here we have our contract management system. This is going to be catering to actually vendors as well as customers. So we'll kind of touch on each aspect of that as we go through this. Once again, all this is really customizable to fit your needs because it is deployed onto your system, onto your tenant. So if you want to do here, for example, capture different data information on your dashboard, we'd be able to do that for you. We can see, right here from this dashboard that you can get a bird's eye view of contracts that are expiring, within 30 days, the value of your contracts. You can see which departments are spending, the most money, the contracts by type, and, where they are in the approval process. Are they in draft? Are they approved? Are they rejected? So you can really get a bird's eye view. And this is currently an admin view. So this will be pretty much, your whole system of contracts. And I'm going to give you a brief overview, then we'll go ahead and go through the process of drafting a contract as well, and then the approval process for that. So as I go over here into the request tab, this is essentially a function which you don't have to have if you did get our CMS, but if you did, employees can kind of come in here. They can request certain items. So say, your IT departments, they need headsets and keyboards, for example, they can put in a request for these items here. And then there can be an approval process that once this request is in place, it'll go get approved. And then once it approves, you will be able to get quotes from, the different vendors. So in this case, 2 quotes were received for the IT department for these items. So these would be the 2 separate companies which have provided quotes. One, here is apparently $36,000, and then this one $62,000. And you can of course attach documents to this as well. And so, like I said, I mean, this is a a feature. If you wanted to be able to generate contracts in that manner, you'd be able to do that. Once again, this is all customizable. So if it doesn't seem to fit your needs, we don't need to have this solution in there as well. As I go down to the contracts tab here, you'll be able to see all of your contracts. You can search through, really anything you're looking for right here. You can search through those. You can show contracts expiring within a certain amount of time. And you can filter through any parameter of, contracts. So if you're looking for contracts, at a certain location, or owned by a certain individual within your company, or maybe a certain department. So all contracts relating to human resources, or even expiring dates. You'd be able to track all of that as well. So I can kind of go in an example real quick and give a brief overview of what that the inside of it looks like. So here you can really capture the main parts of the contract here, the effective dates. You can have, which department it belongs to, what location. You can have a description. You can, change the contract to active or inactive using this toggle switch here. Permissions here is, it's very, very cool actually. This is where you can actually edit which groups can visually see this contract. So here currently only the HR approval team can see this contract. So if you wanted to add maybe like IT, for example, or maybe even legal, you'd be able to do that so they can view the contract. Here within the owner, so these are individuals that are essentially getting notifications when the contract is getting ready to expire. Currently, Joe and Adele are individuals who will be getting notifications that contracts are getting ready to expire. So if you wanted to add somebody else to that, you could easily do that as well. We can have, the payment schedule, so you can keep track of, when the payments are due, and you can select the terms, when is that payment actually due for this advertising agency. Of course, we have, the quotes in here. So you can track quotes, you can log them, you can put their, what you were quoted right here in this document management center right here. So you just simply click the add document button. If you got a quote for them, you'll be able to do that as well. And we'll also touch on the external vendor portal, where essentially we'll eventually have it so your vendors will be able to come into an external site that we've created. They'll be able to offer quotes, fill out questionnaires, forms, and all that, and it'll communicate with the system right here to share documents. They can provide their quotes, themselves, so you're not having to reach out to them. It'll be a very handy system. But I'll show you the overview of that here in just a little bit as well. Under here, you can track your budget. How are the contracts? Like this contract, for instance, how is it affecting your budget? We have a document management system as well, right here. I'll show you some additional capabilities regarding that, but if you wanted to add a document, simply just click the add document button here. And like I touched about before, there's version control, and there's capabilities for redlining, which we'll get into as well. We have a workflow. This is the workflow approvals. So in this instance, it's a 3-stage process where Joe is the first approver. Actually, it's his second approver in this case. It's already been approved by the first stage. So you can select these templates. So anytime you need an approval for advertising agency, you'll have this 3-stage approval where it'll get sent to the next approver within your company. There'll be dates at which they'll need to approve by. And you can see here that Joe needs to approve. You can hit need more info or reject. You can see all the documents that came along with this template as well. And we have a notes. So you can write notes within the contract, and then notifications. So you can write, the different days. So if this contract, for example, was maybe a building lease or something, you want obviously to be notified well in advance before that expires, so you can shop around and make sure that you're getting notified before that expires. So you can set 160 days, 365 days, whatever you'd like, and then the contract owners will get notifications when it's getting ready to expire. Of course, you have your history tab here. This will allow you to really see everything that's happened within this particular contract as well. We have our party tab here. So because this is catering to vendors and customer contract, it says party. If this is going to be the vendor only portion of our contract management system, it would just say vendor here, and it would just have basically all the vendor information right here. So I'll go into one of our examples here. We have Comcast. Also, we can during deployment, if you have like a list of vendors that you already have, and if it's like in a easy Excel or CSV, we can import that for you. You can also create, of course, from this new tab here. You can filter through all of your types of service, so you can see all of your different vendors by types of service, status if they're active or inactive, of course, and maybe what the party's name is or phone number. You can search by all of this as well. So when I go into the Comcast example here, You can kind of see, what type of service it is, the contacts who primarily, you're going to deal with. You can see, the party owner right here. So the individual that's really maintaining this, vendor information. You can see the address, the phone number. You can give them a rating as well. A lot of companies like to have like a rating scale in there. Like, are they really preferred? Are they, they okay sometimes? You can have notes on them as well. You can associate a risk as well. You can change the active status right here as well if you'd like. Under the documents, this is kind of where I touched on, like if you wanted to have like a certificate of insurance, you'd be able to do that. So for example, if you wanted to go into certificate of insurance, so I'll upload a certificate of insurance document, and let's see. Well, it's not wanting to hang. It's not wanting to go, I guess. But we can have notifications expiring. So essentially, this individual, Joe, is going to get notifications when the certificate of insurance is going to expire. We have our contacts here so that you can track really all the contacts, for that vendor company as well. We'll be able to see as well all the contracts associated with this particular vendor. So a nice laid out view here. You can get a bird's eye view of all your contracts related there. Of course, we can track budgets as well. So right here we have our budget for the fiscal year of 2020. So you can set this up so that way when you're drafting a contract, you can kind of see like how much left is in your budget, and really be able to kind of get a good idea of where your money is going to be spent up, if you will. We also have reporting capabilities. So we have our CAN reporting functionality here. If you want to look to, contracts by type, by owner. So if you wanted to look at all of Joe's contracts, he's an employee within our company, you'd be able to see that. He's got quite a few contracts. So you can actually export all this information to an Excel or a CSV as well. And maybe if you would like to send it to somebody else. We also have Power BI capabilities, which we can help you with. So during implementation, if you wanted us to capture, certain data, we'd be able to do that for you. We can have it link out right here. So you're really able to track all that data you're trying to keep track of here. Let's see, I'll go into our vendor portal. So just to give you an overview of our vendor portal as well, this will be the view. So essentially when any of your vendors want to log into their external site, which they'll be able to come into this external site without gaining access to your system. It's kind of like a gateway, I guess, or a throughway, to the contract management solution. So this will be their, they'll have their own vendor login, of course. So the vendor will log in, and they'll be able to, see all the information, right here in their vendor portal. So any questionnaires that you're sending them, if you want to exchange documents with them, or, if they want to see all the contracts that they have with you, they can even come in here and fill out like their vendor profile for you. So their address, their phone number, who to contact, all of that. So it's going to save you time. So you don't have to reach out to them and get all this information. And you can send your questionnaire templates to them. And so you can get all their, vital information, who they are, what they do, all that. Whatever information you're trying to capture, you can really just send it to them. And like I said, you will be able to someday, they'll come in here and they'll be able to fill out the quote section, and they'll be able to provide you quotes without having to reach out to them. Huge time saver, and it'll be very easy. It's a very cool feature. So I'll jump back into the contract management solution real quick. We're going to go ahead and create a new contract. We'll kind of show you how that works. And so you can kind of get an idea of what, a day for one of your employees might be like as they create a new contract. So we're just going to do it right here from this tab. So say, we are looking for internet. Of course, everybody's kind of shopped around at one point for maybe like an internet. So obviously this is going to be a vendor. We're not going to fill this out quite yet. Actually, we probably will. So Comcast. So we'll just say it's Comcast, and we'll say it's managed services, of course, and we'll say that we're kind of looking for what was January 1st, and then let's see, December 31st, so 1 year. Risk we'll put low. and we'll assign a department. Which department is really going to be maintaining this. It's going to be IT. The location is going to be our Florida office, and you can write a description if you'd like. And now in our permission groups, kind of like I touched on before, who can see this contract? Which individuals? So of course, we want IT to be able to see it. It's their contract. And then also, maybe legal is not available in this example. So we'll put like, let's see, and we'll say HR. So HR will be able to see this as well. So whoever you really want to be able to see this contract, you can enter that. We'll say that Joe is the contract owner. We want Joe to be able to get the notifications as this particular contract is expiring. We want to be able to shop around with our other internet providers, make sure we're getting kind of the best deal. So Joe's going to be in charge of that and kind of keep track. We'll go ahead and save this. All right, we'll not do this right now. So that was prompting me. Did I want to, assign a workflow at this time for approval? Many times, of course, like you want your contracts to get approved by the appropriate parties within your organization to make sure that, of course, they're approved. So we can set the payment schedule if you'd like, if we happen to know that. We can set, here is the quotes. So if we wanted to get quotes, from all the different internet providers here, this is where we're going to be able to do that. So we'll say, the first person is Comcast. So Comcast Internet. And then this is where you can add, the item, detail. So internet service provider, obviously one. So you can really fill all this out. And this kind of is useful in a way because it can also, help keep track of, last year's, budget, for example. You can see it kind of lined up. So we'll just leave that at one. So that would be like the line cost. And then you can add documents. So if you had like a quote, for example, from Comcast, you'd be able to upload it right here. So this is going to allow you to really be able to track this. So we have our first quote generated here. We can see Comcast. I can choose this quote if I want to, or I could just throw it away. If I wanted to add another, I could simply just find, here's another internet provider, fill this out. And then, of course, you can add another quote if you'd like. I'll just skip that. All right, so Spectrum. Okay. All right, so now we have our two different vendors here. So we have Comcast, we have Spectrum. We'll go ahead and choose Comcast. And then it says, do you want to change the vendor in the contract page, so you can confirm that. So Comcast was already, in our system here. It's going to populate all of Comcast information right here. So the idea is, when you generate this contract, you can shop around for your different, vendors, get price quotes for them. And then once you select it, it'll populate their information, in here. So that way it allows you to be able to organize, be able to keep track of your, quotes and organize it, and be able to make sure that you're getting the best price. Plus your team can kind of come in here, and everybody can kind of come in and make sure that this solution is being utilized, effectively, if you will, to make sure that you're getting the best prices on some of these. So you can keep track of the contract line items right here, $1 apparently. Of course, it wouldn't be that cheap, but so we can see our budget here, how this particular line item is affecting the budget. We have our documents. So I can, let's see. I'm going to go ahead and add a document button. We can kind of see how the redlining works, the version history. So I'll go ahead and add document. We're going to upload the contract that we received from Comcast. So right here, this is where you're going to be able to see all the version history. You can download the contract as well. So I'll just go ahead and open it. Okay, so review for everyone. Okay. So now we'll be able to come in here and edit the document. So we can see here, Joe on February 25th at 11:32 a.m., wrote this. Please sign on the line below. So the next person that they come in here, they'll be able to see this as well. So all the different changes you'll be able to, track in here. So this is excellent for, redlining, your contracts. And so we can see here it's being automatically saved as well. So no need to worry about that. So I'll exit out here. And as I go into the version history, you'll be able to see this is, the first version. So if I went back in and modified, the document again, you can see that's been updated. All right, it's been saved. And so we should be able to see the two different versions, of this document, the original, and then the second, of course, are here. So you can download each individual version so you can see the changes that are being made. Then, of course, you can, add additional documents to this if you want, like price quotes, things like that. So for our workflow, we'll say that, this does need to be approved. You go through our company approval process. So what I'll do actually is I'll go down to the settings. We're going to make our own approval template, and then we'll assign it to this. So for demo purposes, I'm going to go in here to our settings. We're going to make our template for approval. So we can see all of the approvals which we've previously made. So we'll go ahead and make a new one. So I'll click the new button. So this is where you're going to be able to come in here and really, assign approvals, based on the parameters that you require. So if you want approvals for, your location in Chicago, so this approval will occur anytime you have a contract, at your Chicago office. Maybe your CFO approves it there, and then finally your CEO has to be a two-step approval process. Then you can make that approval here. If you want to do it by, contracts by type or contracts, greater than, $50,000, you could do that as well right from here. So for this example, we'll put internet approval. You could do anything from IT approval, whatever you'd like, computer repair. And then, so I'll go ahead and add a document. So this document's going to show up anytime that I'm using this template. So if I wanted something like, let's see, approval checklist. So we're making sure that our employees are going down the checklist anytime there's approval, or maybe like an approval best practices, you could do that. So we'll say it's a two-stage process. The first step, Joe is always the individual in our company that approves, anytime there's like internet in this example, and we're going to give him 7 days to review. So we'll do workflow approval by type, and we'll do, you can do only one approval is required, or all approval is required. So we'll say that everybody needs to approve it before this goes on to be approved. And then the second stage here, we're going to put, Adele, she is the final individual that typically approves it, and we'll give her 5 days to approve. So we'll go ahead and save this to generate this template for our future use. So now anytime we're looking for internet, we're going to populate this template so that the approval, the contract is getting sent to the right person at the right time. And it's going to eliminate any room for error, if you will. So I'll go back into our contract here that we made for internet. All right, there we go. And I'll jump into our workflow portion here, and we'll say, yes, this does need a workflow. We're going to go ahead and add that workflow. And now we're going to see here our internet approval template, which we just made. So we're going to go ahead and submit this. It's going to take a second to generate that. And as we talked about before, Joe, in this case, will be the first stage for approval. And you can rename these in the settings, which I probably should have done. But you can name this, if this was like CFO, Joe is the CFO, you could rename this stage CFO. And the second stage would be named, CEO if you'd like. So Joe's going to come in here. He's going to review all the, he's going to look through all the quotes, make sure that was okay. He's going to look through the contract. He's going to open his, checklist to make sure everything's checks out with everything. And we're going to go ahead and, start the workflow. So I'll take a second to initialize here. And Joe's going to have 3 buttons here, which you'll see. It's approve, So Joe can approve it. You can hit need more info. So it'll go back to the contract owner and let them know, hey, this needs some additional info before approval, or you can simply just reject it. So Joe, in this case, is going to go ahead and approve this contract, and he's going to confirm. And now it's going to go on to the next stage. So stage 2 is now pending Adele's approval. So she'll look over everything and then approve it, if you will. And so that's kind of the workflow portion of it. So making sure that these contracts getting approved on time. You can up notes in the contract as well, so you can communicate with your team on particular contracts if you have a team of people working on them. And like I said before, these the notifications where you'll be able to edit that and then see all the history, everything that's happened within this contract here. So under settings, of course, you can really manage all of the data you're trying to capture for these contracts yourself. You can change the product categories. You can change the item master, so there's different items that you want to be able to generate contracts for, et cetera. You'll be able to do that right from here. And of course the templates for workflows, permission groups, you'll be able to really have that. So, during implementation, we'll help you really for all this. We'll get it set up for you. And then we do offer, like I said before, unlimited support and training. So if there's any questions you have, we'd be happy to answer them for you as well. With that being said, we'll go ahead and open it up for any questions. If anybody has any questions, you can feel free to use the chat, or if you'd like to use your microphone, feel free to do that as well. Just don't forget to unmute yourself. So whenever, if you have a question, just go ahead and speak up. And while we're here, Joe, is there anything that you'd like to add about the contract management solution?
No. The one thing is, this was just an overview. Just we touched upon some of the features, but if you are interested in really knowing more about the solution and kind of go deep dive into the capabilities and how we can customize the solution for your specific need, what we would recommend is to really go into our site. Ben, if you can pull up that page, you can really schedule a time with us, and we can really do a one-on-one demo with you to really go over some of the capabilities.
Sure.
The cost of the solution can be discussed offline. We are very competitive in terms of pricing compared to our competitors out there. So if you can send us an email, since you already saw a kind of an overview of the solution, we can send you an email with the price info. So if you could just send us an email, that'll be great. You can send it to ben@mydoc365.com or info@mydoc365.com, and we'll respond to you with the cost estimate.
Yeah, so here from the website, mydoc365.com, you can just go to contact, and then you hit the free demo, and then you can instantly book a meeting, schedule a time with me. It'll send you an Outlook invite, and then we'd be happy to discuss pricing. Really anything like that. If you want to do a deep dive, learn what customizations are available to you, I'd be happy to meet with you. Just give it just a second here. If anybody else has any other questions? All right. Well, thank you very much. We really appreciate. Oh, do we have another question here? Sorry.
We'll wait for a few more minutes before we go.
Joe, do you have that one?
No, what was that?
So the question is, what is the turnaround time for a deeper dive?
So we can once you the schedule, you can the time, you can really get it right there on the our website calendar. So we can typically we can get, like in a couple of days, we'll be able to schedule it once you have the request. We have a lot of demos going on, so it's just a couple of days. But if you go into the calendar, Ben, this talked about under the contacts, you'll be able to pick a convenient time for you to have the deep dive.
Yeah. Once again, it's just mydoc365.com. You click on contact, and then you'll just hit the free demo. You can schedule a time right there.
Can you
We're
open
gonna
that?
allocate.
Can you open
Sure.
that link? And can you put that link into the chat so everybody can click, get that?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I can do that.
Just put the link.
Okay.
Just
I will.
link.
Yeah, just jump in there 1 second. And then we have another question as well from someone here.
What was that?
Let's see, creating a contract. We have a contract scanned. I'm gonna post the link in here as well. Joe's got it. We can have contracts scanned as PDF as an image. If we upload the contracts in doc, can it be editable? So can we edit a PDF as an image?
So we don't have the capability to within doc, but if you open that in Word, Office 365 Word, the PDF also is editable. That's a built-in capability of your Office 365.
Yeah. Good question. Thank you.
We'll stick around for a few more minutes. If you have any other questions you can think of, we can answer that. Or if not, we just put the link in there. You can click on that and schedule a time with us. It's a no obligation call. You can, get on a call with us for 30 minutes and really, ask any questions and know more about the price and how we can really work with you.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much for all of your questions, and thank you so much for joining us today. And we hope you enjoyed this high-level overview of Doc's CMS. To discuss some of your company's customizations or to learn more about Doc's competitive pricing for CMS, log on to mydoc365 and click Schedule a Demo. You can also email me, Ben at mydoc365.com, schedule a time there as well. Thanks so much again for joining us, and I hope you have a wonderful day, and we look forward to working with you. Take care.